Hey everybody, welcome back to Baseline Farms. My name is Jade. Oh my goodness, you guys. So, for those of you that watched the live recording, I am so sorry that the pixels were really granular. I guess the film, or how do you say? The video is really granulated and yeah, it wasn't really clear. So, sorry about that. I am no genius at social media or technology of any sort. So I am just learning about this. And so today, oh yeah, and also update on the stray dog that my daughter brought home. That dog, oh my goodness, I felt so bad for it because she was abused and someone abused her severely. So one morning when I was going to work, I was wearing my neon green sweater and oh no, kitty, no, I just took care of this bed. And she just went crazy. She showed teeth. She just went nuts. And then I picked up a shovel because she pooped. So I picked up a shovel to scoop up the poop. And she, oh my goodness, it was scary. Then John saw it and John was just like, nope, we are not having that kind of animal on our property because there's just so many animals that we have here that we could lose if we have one violent dog. And so then the Humane Society came to pick her up, and when they came, she became very territorial where we were keeping her. So yeah, that was just not something that we could tolerate on the farm, nor do we have the time to rehabilitate her, even though she was super kind and sweet to humans. I don't know, she just was like, every time she saw us in uniform, she just went nuts. And if I wasn't in a uniform, she was the sweetest dog, but she still had that little crazy in her eye that really worried me. Oh my goodness, this cat is trying to get into this garden bed, and I just amended the soil and fluffed it all up for, let me grab them, for the garlic. So I am so excited because it is now August 24th, which is my sister's birthday. So happy 51st birthday to you. Sorry to give you a shout out on your age, but you look so good and age is just a number. So yes, my sister's birthday today, and unfortunately we don't get to celebrate together because she lives in a different state. So hope she has a good day today. Hope you have a good day today. So today we are going to start some garlic because it is August 24th and it is time. Last year I started garlic around the same time. And so, oh my goodness, this cat. So he's probably looking at the dirt thinking, wow, it's so fluffy. Because it is. Oh no, kitty, no. Oh my goodness, this cat, I swear, and he's super far away. So we are going to plant some garlic. Okay, I need to grab this cat. Look at this cat. There's tomatoes over here that he's crushing. No. And he's, oh look. Man, kitty, no. Okay. Bring him over here so I can keep an eye on him. All right, so we are gonna plant some garlic. And this is the garlic that I started last year in another garden bed. And it did so good. So I decided to keep some of the best cloves, some of the bigger cloves that looked like this. I separated some of them and I didn't realize how many cloves. I mean, I did realize because I've been using it, but it's still just amazing how many cloves come out of, or how many, is it called cloves? Or is this called cloves? I'm not even too sure, but it's how many little, yeah, cloves of garlic you can get from one big clove or one big garlic. I don't even know. I'm sure I know the name of it and I'm sure I said it before, but one big bulb, garlic bulb, that's what it is. So yeah, so here is the garlic, just like that. You leave the skin on and all, that's what I did, and you just stick it into the soil, just like that. So in this garden bed, what I did was, I really want to add some more drip, but I couldn't find all of my my little emitters, and so I need to find out where they went, which is something that I cannot wait to get that gingerbread house in here so I could store all of my things, so I don't misplace them or they don't get taken or, you know, whatever. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pop in as many garlics as I can. I do have an appointment today, so I'm just gonna do this one really fast, and eventually I want to get some more emitters so that way another row of drip. So I'm gonna be cautious of that, or conscious of that, and make sure that I give enough space so that way when I want to start another row of drip, I'll have room. Okay, so I'll know where I plant the garlic, if that makes sense. All right, so hopefully everyone is doing well. Oh my goodness, there's like a heat wave going on. It's actually been pretty nice here, so I have been pretty happy. It's only been about, I think the highs are in the 90s, which, believe me, it's still hot. Don't get me wrong, 90s is still hot, but at least it's not 100, so that's a good thing. All right, so this is how we do it, just like that. Almost done. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this row, and then I'm gonna come back after my appointment and we're gonna do another row, and then I'm gonna give you a quick tour of the garden, because in that last vlog or that last video it was very you know, granulated. So we'll do that as soon as I get back. But that's it, one row of garlic is all done, and shoot, I didn't even count how many I planted, so I'm gonna have to go back in this video and count. But I'll see you later in the day, and then we'll finish up all the rest of the garlic. All right, so I am done with my appointment. So I went to the dentist, and they had to numb one part of my face, so it's not quite 100% yet. So I can still feel it, so it feels weird to smile. And I didn't realize how numb it was, and when I came out of the dentist, I tried drinking some water, and this guy was passing by, and the water was just spilling down my dress. So embarrassing. Okay, so today, so I'm gonna go back home in just a little bit and do the rest of the garlic, but I wanted to show you the parks. So I came by here with John to come and take a look at the parks, because they are almost finished. They're ready to put down the rest of the bark, but there's the PlayStation, there's the grass right there. Here's all the plants that they put. Look at this place. Can you believe it is so stinking hot out here? Look at this. Is that just amazing? I mean, do you guys remember what it used to look like? It was just a big slab of dirt. Oh my goodness. So he is at the other parks right now moving some things. But yeah, look at this place. How awesome is that? I'm so proud of him. He did such a good job. And instead of doing sod, he ended up laying seed down, which is looking so fantastic. I can't wait to walk on it because it's so beautiful. God, my lip feels so weird. But this is how the park is looking, almost finished. So he is going to be laying bark in here. They just did their last inspection yesterday. There's a couple things that minor things that they needed to fix. One thing was not minor, but it was not John's fault, so it's okay. But yeah, he needs to put bark in here. So that is how the park is doing. Now I need to go and find them. So I'll meet you back at home, or see you back at home, and my lip feels so weird. And then we will continue planting some garlic. All right, so it is now Saturday, and I have finished planting all of the garlic. And yeah, so that's what's been going on. So oh my goodness, after the dentist appointment, my face was so numb, and it stayed numb forever. So that's why I didn't finish up the vlog, because I was just pooped out. And then yeah, don't the parks look so nice? The parks are looking so good. I'm so happy at the way they turned out and how beautiful they are. So let's see. You know, since the last video, the live video that I did, the the pixels were, or the video was so granulated. At least for me it was, and I'm sure it was for everybody else. And so I thought I'd give you another garden tour as to how the garden's doing and how everything is growing. So it is still warm. It's in the 90s, and I think today is supposed to be like 106 or something like that. Super hot. So yeah, but things are still growing really, really well. I just kind of let some of the tomatoes go, but I have been back trimming them because we have been so busy at work. We just hired one new person, and I am so excited because she's going to help me redo some of these containers. So I can't wait to show you how some of those containers are going to look. But let's just get started with this garden tour and how everything is looking in this still warm weather. And we are in late August now. So last year, late August, I believe I was planting some garlic and some onions and things like that, which I did start my garlic now. And I don't know, I don't plan on starting any seeds inside. Last year, I just popped all the seeds in the garden and they did fine. So I think I'm going to do that again. That way I don't have to, you know, deal with hardening off the seeds or anything like that. Now, I have started fall seeds in the garden in the side of the trailer before, and I really honestly did not see any difference. So let me give you a tour of how the garden's doing in this warm weather and how everything's going. And then also, I'm in the big garden, and normally you would not allow this to happen, but I have my quarter horse right there in the garden with me because she eats all the grass around the outside of this garden, and she has been itching to get in here. And she's so sweet, so sweet. Don't get me wrong, she's like 22, I was gonna say 25, but I think she's like 22, 23 years old, something like that. And she's just the sweetest girl ever. And so she's in here with me while I'm vlogging, eating up the grass so I don't have to weed eat. So let's just get started on this garden bed and let me show you how everything's doing. Okay, so over here in this garden bed, I came out here this morning, and oh my goodness. So usually I do a walkthrough of the garden just to see how everything's doing early in the morning after I get done feeding all the animals. And then, my goodness, let me tell you, it's so surprising to go to bed and then, you know, you see these little strawberries popping up. In the last video I said I was barely getting any strawberries from this little square right over here where I had the onions growing. And look at this. Look at that strawberry. I have two of them. They were not this big last night when I went to bed. I saw them and I was like, oh, look at those little strawberries. And I did not think they're gonna ripen up just like that. But I don't have that many, I only have two right now. So I know they're not gonna make it into the house. So I'm just gonna go ahead and eat these while I give you the vlog tour. So this garden bed has a lot of weeds. Yeah, I have allowed the weeds to take over this garden bed. This whole section is full of weeds. And gotta make sure, gotta keep an eye on Bella, make sure she's not eating anything she's not supposed to. But these green onions right here are doing really good. You know, when the ducks were in here, they chopped off the top of the green onions, these bunching onions. But they are making a comeback and they're doing pretty well. And then the strawberries are doing fantastic. Now, let me share with you how the Roma tomatoes are doing. Alright, so here are our San Marzanos, and then I noticed right now, so the fruit is getting a little smaller because I have not been, you know, thinning them out as much or cutting off the suckers and things like that. You know, and last year I didn't do a lot of trimming, and I felt like I got way more tomatoes than I did this year. This year I seem like, it just seems really busy in the house right now. And so I feel like I didn't do a lot of preserving like I did last year. And last year I had so many cucumbers, and this year I didn't have that many. So then I started some more, and now the cucumbers are finally coming in. I cannot wait to show you what these Suyo cucumbers look like. But first, These heirloom tomatoes are doing amazing. They are so amazing. I'm sure if I cut off the suckers and did more, look at these suckers, did more trimming, and I wish my trellis was a little bit taller, I think I could really get some good amount of tomatoes. It's not that I'm not getting any tomatoes. I have plenty of tomatoes. Look at that. So many tomatoes. Matter of fact, I could harvest a whole ton load right now. Look at this. Put them in my apron. I love this apron, you guys. Look at this apron. This apron is so... I'm going to have to make myself a few more aprons like this with bigger pockets so I could come out here and, you know, put them as like little harvesting aprons because they're so cute. And then it has a, you know, a top part that it has an upper pocket. I don't know if I've ever shown you. Yeah, I've shown you in other videos, but not recently. So look at that. It has a little top part where I have a pocket up in here where I could put stuff in it. But I just love this apron. So you could fold it and make it a half apron. But I definitely need to make myself some more of these. So off subject, these are how the heirloom tomatoes by, these are the San Marzanos by Johnny Selected Seeds. And they are doing fantastic. I feel like I might have gotten that wrong. No, I think it's Johnny Selected Seeds. So that's how these are doing. Now let me share with you how the peppers are doing. Alright, so over here we have our peppers. We have our shishito peppers right in here. We have 2 of those, and then we have a ton of purple bell pepper. Let me show you how this purple bell pepper is looking. Look at all those purple bell pepper. Do you see them? So many purple bell pepper in here. I count. Let's see. Oh my goodness. There's some big ones back there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 just on one plant. So that is amazing. And then we have our cayenne pepper right in here that's doing really good. Another purple bell pepper right in here, and another cayenne pepper that's doing awesome. Oh shoot, pulled one off, but it's doing amazing. So that is how these peppers are doing. Now I do have a couple garden beds that I have not started anything yet in, and I plan on doing it, but I just need to amend the soil, like this one right here. I'm probably going to start either some garlic in this bed and intermix it with some spinach or something like that. That will do really well. So now over here, let me show you how this tomato plant is doing. Alright, so over here are our bronze torch, and our bronze torch, oh my goodness, I am so digging these bronze torch, and this is what they look like. They get a little bit brighter in color, but this is how this one looks. So pretty. The inside is so deep red. So I'm so pleased at how these bronze torch are doing, and they're so stinking tall. Now if I were to have a trellis that's super tall, I bet you I could just keep on going and having it trellis all the way up. So that's how this bronze torch is doing. And then I have right here a little, it's not little, it's quite big, but it is a Roma tomato right here growing in the corner that self-seeded itself. So I'm so excited to see. I haven't harvested anything from that one. No, I did harvest two ripe tomatoes. One of them did not do good. It had like that bottom rot. All right, so over here we have our beans. Got to keep an eye on Bella, make sure she's not eating any of the tomato plants over there. All right, so let me share with you how these beans are doing. All right. So here are the garden beans. The garden beans are literally out of control. They are swallowing up the bronze torch right now, and they're like grabbing a hold of it. And yeah, it's just like a crazy amount of vines. So I am so happy that how it's doing, and I don't see any beans on it yet. I cannot wait to see how these garden beans look, because it was just in a big bag, and they're supposed to be these long green garden beans, like green beans. And so we grew, I did have some jade beans in the garden bed that got the powdery mildew. And so I'm excited to get some more of these types of beans, because I really enjoyed cooking. We just ended up eating them fresh and cooking with them. I did not preserve any, which I'm hoping that if I get a lot of beans from this particular bean plants, then I could freeze them or I could can them. I'm probably going to freeze them. But that is how these garden beans are doing. So let me share with you how the other tomatoes are doing, strawberries, lemongrass. All right, so over here we have some strawberries at the very edge of the garden bed over there. And then we have some of these Supremo Roma tomatoes. And these are tomato bushes. So I did do some research from the last time, since the last vlog. And I forgot that these were all from botanical interest. So all the tomatoes that I planted are all from botanical interest. And they're doing so good. Now, it has been cooler in the evening times. I'm saying like in the 60s. But it has been so nice and warm in the daytime. And I think these plants are really liking the weather. So that is how these little tomato bushes are doing. I can already see some blossoms. Now this is the first time ever doing this fall succession planting of, I think they're determinate tomatoes. And I'm super excited to see how this is going to turn out and what type of harvest we're going to get, or if any tomatoes. So let's hope we get some fresh tomatoes, which would be awesome. Now, I'm not really tired of my August garden. It is hot. This was, I feel like, such a hot year. We just had so many days of 100 degrees, and you know, the mornings have been nice and the evenings have been nice. So at least it hasn't been staying warm throughout the evenings, in the mornings, which is nice. So yeah, so this is how this garden bed is doing. Fantastic. And then the lemongrass over there, oh my goodness. So we did make some lemongrass soup, since I was talking about it in the video. I was like, God, the lemongrass soup sure does sound pretty good. I see Bella going towards the cucumbers, so I gotta make sure she's not eating any of them. Okay, so let me show you how the lemongrass is doing. All right, so over here we have our lemongrass. Gosh, look at that, you guys. I mean, I could definitely probably use a couple more of these lemongrass. Bella doesn't eat the lemongrass. It's super hardy. It can handle the heat, the cold, the freeze, and it is doing so good. I would pretty much love to have one of these lemongrass, another one somewhere here in the garden. I mean, one's enough, but I just like the structure of it. It just looks so nice and full and just so beautiful. So that is how this lemongrass is doing. Amazing. And let me tell you, if I wanted to harvest this lemongrass, all I had to do is cut it, put it in some water, wait for it to grow some roots. I believe I put some rooting powder. I've done it before, and I put a little bit of rooting powder in there. And then I have to make sure Bella is right here. If you hear that munching, no, Bella, don't cheat. She's right over here behind us. And I hope she doesn't like tomato seedlings. But this is how this lemongrass is doing. Fantastic. And let me show you how this other garden bed is doing. Look at her. You see her? Look how close she is to those tomato plants. But she's doing such a good job weeding this little area right here, as long as she doesn't go into the beds. She's such a sweet girl. I do not recommend this to anybody. Do not put your horse in with your garden. That is not recommended. Absolutely not. She will eat everything if you allow her to. And she's so nice. I can't even tell you how nice she is. She's the sweetest horse ever. She's so well behaved, so well trained. So that is why she's in the garden. Other than that, other horses, they might get wild and want to run and trample on everything. But she is so gentle and so kind and so sweet and so smart. And yeah, she's a great little companion to have, huh, sweetie? Okay, so now let me share with you how this garden bed is doing. All right, so over here in this garden bed, this is the garden bed where I planted a bunch of artichokes. We had some Jerusalem artichokes growing, which is crazy. We had turnips, carrots, spinach, what else? Marigolds, nasturtiums. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if I left out. I'm sure I left out something. Oh, I started some celery seeds that didn't pop up because I planted so many other things, and you know, the Jerusalem artichoke popped up unannounced. So that is what is happening in this garden bed. Not much of anything. I am eventually going to clear out some of this stuff. Like I'm going to chop down some of this, or trim up some of these Jerusalem artichokes, because they're just taking over the garden bed. I'm going to trim up that marigold right over here, even though it's looking good. It's not looking too healthy. And then I'm going to amend this bed and either pop in some sort of carrots, because they did really good, and garlic and some turnips because they did really good over here. So that's what my plan is for this garden bed, is to plant some carrots. Now, in the last video, I said I didn't like the longer carrots. Now, it's the same seed, so there's no different seed for different sizes. What I did was I just harvested the carrots a little bit earlier than anticipated. I got to keep an eye on Bella just to make sure she's so close to my beans. I don't want her to eat the beans. So what I did was I just harvested the carrots really early because we were going to have some really hot weather, and I didn't want the carrots to go tough or get really stringy or anything like that. So I just harvested the carrots when they were younger and tender, and I tend to like it. I found out I liked them smaller like that. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of both, some small, some full grown. And that's how I'm going to harvest my carrots, because I liked eating those snack sized ones, and they're so sweet. All right, so let me share with you how the blackberry's doing. All right, so here's our blackberry bush, and our blackberry bush, hasn't really been giving me any blackberries, but it has gotten bigger, and I'm thinking I'm going to take the netting off. I just noticed that some of the shoots are growing in through the netting, so I'm just going to take this netting off and then see what happens. And if I do get any fruit, maybe I'll put a bigger cage with a bigger netting on top of it, just to keep the birds from eating the berries. But that is how the blackberry is doing. Not a lot of fruit, but a lot of shoots. So I'm hoping that we'll get some blackberries soon, and I could eventually get a nice big bowl of blackberries where I could make some jams or just things like that, because that would be so nice. Blackberries are not cheap, and that would be something nice to have on the farm. Okay, so over here we have our basil, and oh my goodness, this basil is amazing. I can't even say enough about it. I have cut down so much of it, and it's doing awesome. Now I just noticed that I have a couple tomatoes over here. Now these are the color tomatoes that are supposed to be on this particular tomato plant, and this is the first I've harvested, so this is the first thing I see. I gotta go take a look at Bella real fast. I'll be right back. All right, she was just, oh my God, she was in one of the garden beds, but she was just eating the grass in the garden bed, but it was just too close for comfort for me. So I have moved her to another part of the garden where she could just go to town. All right, so this is how this tomato is doing. I cannot wait to taste it. I have not tried it yet. I have not trellised it up or anything like that. I just have it tied over here. But this is how it's looking. This is the this is the one I got from the nursery, and so far so good. I've never grown this one before, and yeah, so far so good. I don't have any high expectations or anything like that, but I'm happy that I can't wait to try it out, and I'm happy that it grew some fruit. Now let me share with you how these other what are they called? They're not heirlooms, San Marzanos are doing on the other side of this trellis. All right, so these are the tomatoes that I started, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks after the first succession of tomatoes, and this is how they're doing. I have not harvested any tomatoes from these tomatoes. Now, there are quite a few tomatoes on here, but they're really small. And yeah, I haven't really been, I've trimmed them up just a little bit, but not very much. I've been so busy with the other big tomato plants that I've kind of neglected them. So these are how these tomato bushes are doing on this side of the trellis. And I don't know if they're not doing well because, no, I take that back. They are doing well. It's just that they don't seem as big and as tall as the other tomatoes that I started 2 weeks earlier, which, I mean, they are 2 weeks ahead. So I don't know, maybe these are just doing just fine. I have some tomatoes on there. I can't wait to try them. And maybe they're just doing just fine because they're 2 weeks behind. But I should definitely cut off some of the suckers and tie them to the trellis just like the other ones. I shouldn't give up on them quite yet. Or just let them go. I should take care of them, because then that way I could know if I'm going to get a lot of fruit from this, and why not? I planted it. So that is how these San Marzanos are doing, and doing really well. Gonna see if Bella's at. Okay, so now let me share with you these suyo cucumbers. Oh my gosh, they're so cool looking. Wait a minute, let me show you this. All right, so do you see that cucumber right there? Look at that. Do you see how long that thing is? Oh, I gotta get my hand in there. Look at that thing. a cucumber. Suyo cucumber. Isn't that so cool? So it's supposed to get bigger than that. There's a couple of them on here, but look at how healthy it's looking. It's looking so, so good. Look at that. And it's trellising up, and it's doing so well in the heat. So yeah, I am so pleased with the Suyo cucumber. I cannot wait to see what it's gonna look like and how it's gonna taste and what the inside looks like. But that is how it's doing right now, doing so good and just trellising away. So I cannot wait to see what it's gonna look like. Now, I know we're gonna have some, I mean, we are having some warm weather. Like I said, we're gonna have, I think it's supposed to be 106 today. So these are supposed to be heat tolerant, and I'm hoping that they can really tolerate the heat. Now look at these sunflowers. Some of these sunflowers are so big that they're just falling over, but they're so beautiful. I have not taken any of these off and put them in the house. I have not cut any of them or anything like that. I have just allowed them to just continue to grow, and yeah, the bees seem to like it. I just love seeing them here in the garden, but I think I need to stake them up because they're getting so, so tall. John's blowing leaves, you can hear that. He's blowing the driveway right now. Sorry about that. Now, along with the sunflowers, we also have some blue lake beans right in there. And they're not that big. They're kind of small. And I think these are gonna be like a little bush variety. I've never grown them. I've tried to grow them, but let's see, have I been successful? I don't think I have. I don't think I've been successful with growing the blue lake beans. I don't think so. I don't remember. Yeah, no. And then we have some basil, and the basil is doing well also. So I just harvest, when I harvest some basil to make pesto, I just harvest all the basil I can possibly acquire from the garden, and then make a huge batch of pesto right now. So right now I don't freeze it. I just put it in big mason jars and put it in the refrigerator just because we go through it so fast. We had no idea. I mean, yeah, we normally don't buy a lot of pesto from the market, so this is really nice to be able to have it just whenever you need it. And then, oh my goodness, I got bit right here the other day. I think it was the day when I went to go and collect the ducks and went to go look for the ducks. It was in a dark spot in the barn, and I reached in and grabbed the ducks, and I think I got bit by a spider because there was like, do you see that huge circle right there? This was so swollen yesterday, huge, and it just hurt so bad. But I took some allergy medicine, and now it's like, oh my goodness, it's so itchy. But yeah, this is why I wear cowboy boots. Oh my goodness. And we have an airport not too far from here. All right, so yeah, this is why I wear boots. And yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking to reach in. I knew in my mind, I was thinking there's so many black widows right now. I should not be reaching in to grab these ducks, but I did it. Just because I didn't want them to die or get hot or, you know, whatever. I don't think they're going to die, but I just didn't want them to be inside that barn. So this is what happens. I got bit by a bug. Oh, it itches so bad. All right, so let me share with you how this raspberry bush is doing. Not too good. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to take it out. I think I'm just going to cut it back. I said I was going to do that before, but got so busy with work and didn't do it. So let me show you how that's doing. Here's a raspberry bush. I mean, see, do you see this green stuff right here? You see these green things right here? It's doing really well. This inside stuff right here is doing really good. See that? So I think I'm just going to cut all this dry stuff off. Now, what I did was I thought this thing caught, this raspberry bush caught some powdery mildew because I had some powdery mildew going in the garden. So I sprayed it with some neem oil and some Dawn soap because this really got the worst of the powdery mildew. The rest of them, I pulled out the beans, I pulled out the cucumber that had it, and then I felt like I stopped the spread, but this one really got some powdery mildew. So I sprayed it. It's doing pretty good. It has some green growth, but you know, this is how it's looking. So now let me show you how the cherry falls are doing and the sun golds. All right, it's getting hotter. So here are the cherry falls. Look at that. I don't know if you could see them. It's kind of bright out here. but the cherry falls are doing so good, and I'm really feeling like they're liking this kind of cool evening, warm in the day type of weather. They're doing so good. I already see some blossoms on there, and they're just looking really healthy. So I'm happy with how these cherry falls are doing, and I'm excited to see if we're gonna get any tomatoes, any cherry tomatoes, which would be nice because I really need to make some more salsa. I did not make enough salsa this year, or we just were eating it nonstop. I think that's what it is. I think we're just eating it nonstop, and we didn't save any. So this is how the cherry falls are doing, and the sun golds, amazing. They're so sweet. I need to harvest so many of them right now. There's so many of them on here. Yeah, so good. So this is how the cherry falls, or no, not cherry falls, sun golds are doing. It looks like Bella wants to head out now. I'm gonna go get her out. All right. Oh, nope, she found a different spot. All right. So here are the sun golds doing fantastic. Now over here, we have some more cherry falls right in this little area. Now I am gonna put bark in throughout the rest of the garden beds, but I just haven't done it yet because it has been so stinking hot. And after you've been working all day, you do not want to come home and, you know, put bark in your garden because it's so stinking hot. So I did plant, I believe, let's see, I want to say 60 garlic cloves in this little area right here. So I know hopefully we're going to get 60 heads of garlic, which will be amazing. And then we have some artichoke plants over there, and oh my goodness, these artichoke flowers, I had no idea that they were this beautiful. They're so bright, like this one you can't really tell, but when it first blooms, it is so bright and almost looks fake. So beautiful. I had no clue that that is what an artichoke flower looks like, because I've seen them at the farmer's market, but they were just so dry. Now, I have harvested so many eggplant. Look at that eggplant right there from this garden, and I was told by another farmer that I could put the eggplant in spaghetti sauce and no one will know. They can't even tell the difference. So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna put some spaghetti sauce and some eggplant into my spaghetti sauce, and then you know, cook it that way, and it's gonna look, I mean, it's gonna taste amazing. I mean, because there's so many other flavors in there that I think she's right. I don't think you're going to be able to tell. So that is what my tomato sauce is going to entail. Some zucchini, some eggplant, tomatoes, onion, garlic, yummy. Okay, here are the, what were these? These were the Lake Valley. I think these were from Lake Valley Seed Company cucumbers, and they're doing amazing. Yeah, we had kind of a slow harvest on these these cucumbers, and now they're just coming in. The plant doesn't look too healthy. Like, I noticed something was eaten on them, but the fruit looks good. So I haven't done anything to this plant, and I have just allowed it to go and just kind of helped it up this trellis here. And so far, so good. So yeah, that's how this cucumber plant is doing. And now let me show you how these pink Berkeleys are doing. Oh, and I notice I have to trellis one up. These pink Berkeleys, and then I have these purple Cherokees. So let me show you how these are doing. All right, so here are the Cherokee purples, and they are doing really good. I have harvested quite a bit of these Cherokee purples, and what I've been using them for is like stewed tomatoes. So I just cut them up, I put them in jars, I put the onions, garlic, and I use its own broth. I heat up the broth. Oh, bless you. So here are the purple Cherokee purples, and they're doing fantastic. So I just use them for stewed tomatoes. I have used them for some spaghetti sauce, and they're doing so good. All right, so on the other side here we have some pink Berkeleys, and I was out here this morning trimming up some of the suckers because it was just getting so out of control. But I have so many tomatoes still on this on these tomato plants, and these are by far my favorite. I love the way they taste, the way they look. They're just amazing in flavor. Their fruit is so perfect. I haven't had any of them really split on me. If they did, it was because of my fault. But that's how these pink Berkeleys are doing, and I'm definitely going to do them again. I got those from Johnny Selected Seeds, and I am so pleased with how they taste, how they look, everything about them. And yeah, amazing. So now on this other side, here are all of our peppers. Now, I have used some of these peppers and roasted them, and I'm going to use them in omelets and things like that. So that is what my plan is. My plan is to harvest a lot of these peppers, put them in a roasting tray, roast them, and then put them in the refrigerator in a jar with some olive oil, and then I will use them as I need them for if I want to make any kind of quiche or anything like that. I could just put them in there. Oh, I could even put them in the tomato sauce too, but I just don't want the tomato sauce to be spicy. So this is how all the peppers are doing. So let me give you a good look at how each individual plant is doing, how the peppers are looking, and they're coming in an abundance. Amazing. All right, so here are our mild shishito peppers. We have some Hungarian hot peppers back there. They're looking amazing. Look at that. And then this is my first time ever growing any of these varieties. Here are some barren hot peppers. They look so good, and they're so delicious. And the Hungarian hot pepper right in the back here, they're not as spicy as I thought they were. Not even close. I ate one, and it's delicious. The flavor is amazing. So here's another barren hot pepper right in here. And then I have some more shishito peppers right in there. And then right in here, I have some Pablo peppers. These are the ones that I roasted. And these are, I tasted them, and they're a little spicy if you leave the seeds in. So those are the Pablo peppers. And then I have some bell peppers right in there. If you can see that, it's getting so bright. So there's a bell pepper right there. All right, so here are our 5-star cherry tomatoes by Johnny Selected Seeds, and they are doing so fantastic. And I did come in here and I did trim up all the suckers on the very top, and so that is how it's doing. So many of these 5-star cherry tomatoes, so good. Now I noticed the skin on these are a little bit thicker, not as thin as the Sun Golds and not as thin as the Bronze Torch, but still very delicious. All right, so that's how the 5-star are doing. And then here are the potatoes. I have not harvested any of those potatoes yet because I have no idea when to harvest it, but I've been doing research, and we're supposed to harvest them when they start to die out. So that's what I'm going to do. And Bella, I think it's time for her to get out now. I think she's getting bored with the grass in here. All right, so let's get her out of here. Let me go grab her. Almost forgot to show you the Myers lemon. See, here's the Myers lemon. Still doing really good, but look at this trunk. This trunk is so thick. It has a lot of new growth to it, but no lemons yet. So I cannot wait to get some lemons and some blackberries. Oh my goodness. Maybe I can make some lemon blackberry lemonade or something like that. That sounds so good. But I cannot wait till this gives me some lemons, some Myers lemons. You're going to be so excited. I mean, when I purchased it, it had some lemons on it, and it's probably because it was in a greenhouse. You know, I bought it before I knew anything, and so that is how it's looking. But let me show you how the little garden's doing with all of our melons and pumpkins, doing so good. I ended up letting Bella out. I didn't even have to guide her out. She just walked up to the gate and was like, I'm ready to get out. So the ducks have been sleeping with the chickens, and sounds like a mob movie, huh? The ducks are sleeping with the chickens. But yeah, so the ducks have been herding themselves by themselves and putting themselves away at night inside the chicken coop. But the problem is I cannot get the ducks out of the chicken coop in the daytime for them to go out to the pond. So I have to catch them, put them out in the pond, but as soon as dusk comes, they literally put themselves back. So I think they got the gist of it, of what Hank was trying to do, was put him back into the chicken coop. So that has been going really, really well. And so these are how all the ladies are doing. They are doing so good. Man, they are so stinking sweet. And none of them have been jumping into the big garden, so that is a plus ever since we clipped their wings. Matter of fact, none of them have been jumping out of the chicken coop. And if they are roaming around, not, out and about, not in the chicken coop, then I know it's because of Hank. Hank knows how to open up the little sliding door that we have for the chickens, so he just lets them out on his own whenever he feels like he wants them out. Yeah, he just goes in there and he just slides the thing open. And this dog, all of my animals are just so smart. So smart. But that is how the chickens are doing. The ducks are doing so good. So I'm happy that they are now coming into the garden by themselves, and Hank doesn't have to go and grab them by the neck and drag them in. So hopefully he's not so noisy, because John is blowing. I was gonna help him blow because it's faster if 2 people blow our driveway than just 1 person. So after I finish this vlog, I might just strap one of those leaf blowers on and blow the leaves. But here, let me give you a really good look as to how these pumpkins are doing. Now, I've noticed that in the daytime when when it's really hot outside, the pumpkins look so wilted and so sad looking, but I think it's just their way of conserving energy. And yeah, because it's so hot out. It's just like, you know how we feel. If it's so hot, we're just like, oh, so sluggish. That's how they look. So this bark has been a game changer. It has been so nice. I have been really enjoying it. It has been keeping the soil nice and moist. And we are getting some pumpkins. So we have, I think it looks like one lumina pumpkin, and 2 of the little, one of the New England pumpkins. I did have 2, but one of them got a little mushy. So here is one of those New England pumpkins right there. And then here is the lumina. I don't know if you could see that. There's the lumina right there. And it's, I can't wait to see what it's really, can you get a good look at that? I don't know if I'm showing you. It's right there. It's kind of in the shadow, but I can't wait. It's getting so bright out here right now. And I started, like, you know, in the morning time, because it's so hot in the afternoon. We get out here so early, like around 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'm out here working, and we just try to get as much work done in the cool weather as possible, so that we're not just dying in the heat. And then in this inside, once it starts to heat up outside, we work in the inside. But the problem is that we don't want to waste a lot of energy. So then I end up not doing that many things inside the house because you don't want to waste a lot of energy. So here are I don't know what these are called. I hope you can hear me. I'm not too sure, but these are like a grayish pumpkin, and they are doing so well. And of course, this eggplant is just off the hook, growing so many eggplants. And then over here, we have our cantaloupe right in here. And that is just looking so phenomenal. So I am so excited. Now, we don't have any Crenshaw yet right in here. I don't see any right in there. And then we have some lily melons right there, and then some Sarah's Choice right at the very end. And I do see some Sarah's Choice. Now over here we have some sweet meat right in there, and then we have our butternut squash right there, which I really hope that we get some butternut squash, at least for Thanksgiving. That would be so nice. So that is how the little garden's doing. I have some oregano growing in there. Just so many things. So noisy. So let's go check on the lambs, and let me show you how the lambs are doing. Oh, so sweet, you guys. So sweet. I have not been in here with the lambs since the last video, that live video that I showed you. Just because they're so sweet and you get so attached to them. Oh, I need to clean out their water. John was blowing over here and got some debris in their water. All right, so these lambs are so freaking sweet. They're gonna come over and say hello now. They see me in here. Here's Jack. So freaking sweet. So let me show you these little guys. Hi, Jack. Look at this little guy. So sweet. They're so nice. So he just loves to be pet. And I love petting him, right? And then this one right here is Chrissy. Oh, Chrissy's a little shy. Janet's the darker one. I don't know if you can tell, but this is Jack. This is Janet. And Chrissy's right over here next to the camera. Peeing. That's what they do. Pee and poop and eat. But normally, you know, I've raised quite a bit of lamb, quite a few lambs, and none of the lambs have remembered me as much as Jack has. Jack is so freaking sweet. And in the beginning, of course, they're wild because they're in the new territory and things like that. But man, he has really been the nicest, by far the nicest lamb ever. And so stinking sweet. Oh, I can't even say that enough. Did I say that so many times already? Sweet. Yeah, the meat's probably gonna be so sweet too. Ooh, I shouldn't even say that. That sounds so horrible. But it's true, we are raising him for meat, right guys? You know, it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing raising animal for consumption, because you know when you get them what their end life is gonna be. And yes, I could definitely change it and not harvest them for meat, but then I'm gonna have these lambs that are just gonna roam our property and eat everything. And yeah, I just can't have that, because I'm not raising them for the wool, I'm raising them for the meat. And that's just part of it. And these 3 lambs will sustain our family for the whole year. So that's really nice to have. And it's just like any red meat that you would buy, like any kind of beef or anything like that. It's considered red meat, and the meat is so good. So I raise these lambs from grass start to grass finish. What that means is I feed them grass from the very beginning and all the way to the very end. Some people feed them grass start and grain finish, and I don't do that. I used to in the very, very, very beginning of farming and learning how to farm and how to raise meat. I used to do that, and I used to, it's kind of dark in here. I used to just, you know, do how they did it, and how it's taught through the 4-H programs and things like that. Is a lot of these people, they do feed their goats. It was goats that we were showing, goats and lambs, and some of them did feed them grain at the very end, and some of them feed them grass. And so I guess it's just what you prefer. But I have noticed that I prefer grass start to grass finish. I noticed that the meat does taste a little different, and it tastes so good. So that is our preference, and that is what we have been doing and how I've been raising these lambs is that way. So hopefully no one gets offended by me talking about my lambs, you know, raising them for food. Hopefully that doesn't make anyone feel bad, because I do feel bad when it comes to harvesting time. It is not an enjoyable thing. It's not enjoyable to watch an animal that you raise and then you eat for you know, consumption. But then again, I do buy beef from the market, and I do buy chicken from the market, so I feel it's the same thing. I'm just raising it, and I'm getting to, you know, recognize the animal, and I get to feed the animal and touch the animal. So it's just so surreal when you're actually harvesting the animal and eating it for food, even though that's how other animals are raised. They're raised on farms that are mass production, and I'm just raising 3 for my family. I'm not raising no mass production, so that would be a whole different scenario. But I would really love to raise chickens. That's my goal, is to eventually get John on board to help me raise some chickens. Here's my buggy. Here's my little buggy that's out of commission right now, because I don't know why. Something's wrong with the battery. It's not connecting to the motor or something like that. Now, we bought that buggy for about $100. And we found it in a field, and we've put a lot of money into that buggy. But I cannot wait to get it started so our new gal can ride around in it at one of the shopping centers. And then I'm going to eventually, we got a spray rig here. I'm going to eventually start painting the barn, and I'm going to start doing that early in the morning and start taking care of that. But that is what's happening on the farm. I could keep going and going and going. So many things happening. But that is what's happening. Everything is growing. The animals are looking fantastic. The ducks finally found their home in the chicken coop. The dog that we rescued, I hope, goes to a good home. I really, really pray and hope that it goes to a good home. And I really shame on those people that owned it before and dumped it out on the street. Shame on them. You know, why even have an animal if you plan on abusing it like that? It's just so sad. So I hope that German Shepherd, that little puppy, finds a good home and finds someone that's patient and can you know, take care of it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that's happening. Take care, be safe. I hope that garlic grows, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.